bangs are not banging right now. It's whatever. It's whatever. Hello. It is I, Michiko here. We are here to do another reading book series type thing. Last time I read the Percy Jackson series. We're now moving on to classics. I actually got this collection around April. My mom got it for me for my birthday present, and this is like the deluxe edition or special edition. I forgot what the thing is, but I'm gonna put it right here on the screen what kind of edition these books are. I was hoping they had one of Pride and Prejudice, but they do not. So they have Persuasion, Sense and Sensibility, super pretty, Little Women, and then Emma. So they had other books as well, but these were the four that I was interested in. I don't know why they didn't have one for Pride and Prejudice, because most of these books are Jane Austen, and I if you can't already tell, I really want to read Pride and Prejudice because I love the 2005 film adaptation, but for some reason I don't know how copyrights work or like what books they decide to pick. But these are the four classic books I am going to be reading. I have no idea how long it's going to take me. But Persuasion is the one that has the least amount of pages. It has about 235. That seems acceptable. I really hate how my bangs look. I cannot help but look at them. They're whatever. That's not the point. The point is we're going to start reading Persuasion by Jane Austen. I am starting to read this on October 20th. This episode won't actually be uploaded until I get through all of these books, because these are the only classical books I have on hand. My book collection has not grown. I kept my word. I am still reading my collection until I can buy more. Unless it's a pre-order, those don't count, okay? But we're gonna start off by reading Persuasion. I'm gonna check back in and react to what's going on, because it's time to dive in. Before you judge me for reading on the floor, sometimes it's nice to sit on the floor. But anyway, I just wanted to check with you guys already. Do you see the font? How tiny it is? As an annotator, I love annotating my books, but for this edition of these books, I'm not gonna touch them, so they're gonna be clean. But look how tiny. It's so tiny. I might need to put my glasses on for this. But it's so tiny. I'm used to I wonder what size font that is. I'm used to bigger size fonts. Because let's pull out this book here. Yeah, look at this font here. This is all spoilers. I haven't read the series yet. But this font's super tiny. I'm ready for my eyeballs to hurt. But we're gonna get back into it. I'm only on page 8, and I have no idea what's happening. There's a bunch of names on paper. I think we're following a girl named Anne. Her point of view? I have no fucking idea. Whoever it is, they're 29, and that is considered very old in this era to not be married. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm nearing that age and I'm not married either, so am I a disgrace in this era as well? But anyway, I didn't even tell you guys what this book was about. Apparently, Frederick Wentworth has occupied the thoughts of the sweet but suggestible Anne Elliot since she broke his heart 8 years ago. When their paths cross once more, will their attraction win out, or will indifference trump true love? I'm gonna assume they get together. But I literally, there's a bunch of names on this book. Elizabeths, Annes, and I think there's more than just like one Elizabeth and one Anne, and then there's like a Mr. Elliot. I don't know who all these characters are. Hopefully I will eventually figure it all out, but okay. Alright, a quick recap. I think I'm about done reading for today. I read about 30 pages. That's plenty. From my understanding, there is a family of 3. There is Elizabeth, which is the oldest sibling, which is 29, and then there's Anne, who is 27, and then their dad, Sir Walter. Dad is broke. He needs money, so he's trying to get a tenant to live in his mansion so he doesn't get rid of the mansion. I could be all wrong. This is from my understanding. Hopefully I'm right. He's trying to get a tenant to live in this mansion so he has some income coming in so they don't have to entirely leave the mansion entirely, because they're going to move to London, but the lawyer, Mr. Shepherd, was like, yeah, no, Mr. Walter isn't going to fit with those people. They were going to move to Bath, but Mr. Walter and Elizabeth, they don't like the idea of living there, so now they're looking for a tenant, and the tenant is possibly an admiral named Mr. I don't know, the Admiral Croft, I think. But there's also another tenant that's possible to live with them called Mr. Wentworth, which is Anne's old flame that she was engaged to when she was 19. But the dad and Miss Russell is her name, I think. Lady Russell. I think Lady Russell's like a close friend of Mr. Walter. Mr. Walter and Lady Russell did not approve the engagement of Anne and Frederick Wentworth at 19, when she was 19. That was her first love. Time skip. However, 6-7 years, now she's 27. She still loves the man, and he's possibly coming to live with them. So that's the first 30 pages. So far, not too bad. As I was reading it, I realized I already watched this movie. So I know the ending. So there is a happy ending. But as I was reading it, I was like, this sounds fucking familiar. And then I remembered I watched the movie. So, alright. 30 pages down. 200 and... How many pages is this? 235. So, 205 pages to go. Hello, just doing a quick check-in. It is 6:13, October 22nd, that I am reading Persuasion. I am currently on chapter... I don't know how to read Roman numerals. I believe... Let me flip the camera real quick. I believe this is chapter... Sorry, the lighting in here. I believe it's chapter 7... Maybe. I'm reading chapter 7, and honestly, I am still trying to get used to the language that they're using. I'm still trying to get to know every character. They're mentioning all these characters and like their relevance, but I'm having a struggle time figuring out who is who. But all I know is we're now finally in the point of view of Anne. We've been in her point of view for 2 chapters now. Her dad and sister Elizabeth are now in Bath, and she has been living with her other sister Mary for 3 weeks, and now she's back at the original house, I think for a few weeks until Miss whatever the lady's name is. I don't see her name on this page, but the lady that she's close with, is her father's friend, is gonna come pick her up and live with her. I don't know. I could be terribly wrong. I don't know the pacing of this book, but I'm gonna keep on reading because I'm trying to get into classics. But I'm starting to realize maybe classics aren't my thing, and I just prefer the movie adaptation. But you know what? I'm still gonna read it, just so I can know exactly like what parts the movie didn't keep in or anything. But so far it seems like they kept most of the information in. What else? I am trying my best to read at least a chapter a day to just complete this. Right now it's not a 1-star because I have read worse and it's classic, so I didn't want to give it a 1-star right off the bat just because I don't personally understand. I'm sure as I keep reading I will understand a little bit more. It's just my brain is just some garbage, but it's not a 1-star right now. I've read worse, so Persuasion, you still got it, okay? Can you guys see that? 105. I just finished chapter whatever this chapter was, and oh, let me pause the music for the vibes. There's this one section here that Frederick says, where is it? A strong mind with sweetness of manner made the first and last of the description. So he's talking about the woman he wants to marry because now he's like rich and is ready to settle. And he's like, that is the woman I want, said he. Something a little inferior I shall of course put up with. But it must not be much. If I am a fool, I shall be a fool indeed, for I have thought on the subject more than most men. That that had my heart going. That was so cute. He's like talking about love, but he does not want to get back with Anne, which is weird because that sounds like her. Like that's a description of her. So that is page 58. I have finished my 1 chapter for this morning before work, so hopefully during break I can read another chapter. Hello. It's been some time since I updated you guys on this book. Well, it's gonna be a second for you, but it's been, I think, a few days for me. Is October 30th. I am now just 50% in this book. I haven't been able to read as much as I wanted, but I have been trying to at least read 2 chapters in the morning now because the reading a chapter during my lunch break does not work out. So far, I'm still trying to learn I'm getting to the point where I'm learning everyone's name. 50% in as we're almost done. There's 2 characters that I really like in this book. And we don't know that much about them. Not quite much of this one guy that I'm about to tell you, but I'm trying to find Captain Wentworth is our main guy, but like I'm not even vibing with him. I'm vibing with literally everyone else, so that kind of sucks. That fits my trope though, because I always pick the guy that doesn't get picked in a book. So reading sucks sometimes for me. Captain Benwick. He is one of the guys that works for Captain Wentworth, and he has been, I guess he's a widow for a year now because his wife passed away while he was out in sea, I believe. Hopefully I read that correctly. He is so cute in my eyes because he's just a reader. He just loves to read. He gets happy when he talks about the books he's reading. He just wants somebody to talk about books, but he's obsessed with poems because of the whole death of his wife and everything, so he's very emotional, so he reads poems. So Anne recommended him some books to read and he wants to talk to her about it. I think this book is just going to be a solid 3, even though I'm only 50% in, but it's not a 1, it's not a 2, and it's not anything surpassing a 3 to me. So I'm gonna lock in with a 3-star for this book. I forgot to tell you guys, the one character I dislike in this book is Anne's sister Mary. She complains about one more thing. I am gonna be so angry. All she does is complain. Hello. I am updating you guys. It's been, I don't know how many days since I last checked in with you guys on the book wise. I'm doing like 2 or 3 different recordings now. But this is November 11th, 12:05. I am currently on page 192 out of 235 of the book. I have been in a reading slump. I would have most likely finished this sooner if I cared. If I cared enough. It's just the language is so hard for me to get past, and I'm just like trying to understand the storyline. It's just a me problem. It's not the book itself. The book is still 3 stars. I don't think it's going to get any higher. It's not going to get any lower because I've read worse. And this is a classic book, so I want to give it a shot because the language back then is different. So I don't want to diss it because I don't understand the language. That's just a user error on my behalf. But right now I am learning about Mr. Elliot, of what he was like in the past. Mr. Elliot is Anne Elliot's cousin. That sounded really hot to me. He still is kind of hot to me, but I know he's not endgame. But his past isn't that hot. He's basically, he was supposed to marry Anne's sister Elizabeth, but he backed out and married another woman, which I thought was rich, but she wasn't. She was just a poor woman, low class woman, and her father was a butcher. But I guess they had like generational like land or something that made him want to still continue pursuing the woman. And she died, and now he got her, you know, all her stuff, life insurance and everything. So now he's actually looking to marry for realties, or at least that's what's insinuated by Miss Smith, which is Anne Elliot's childhood friend that she just started reconnecting with now that she's in Bath. So I hope you guys are understanding. If you're not, well, I'm trying my best to like explain it but not spoil too much. But we're now at this section where we're gonna learn about Mr. Elliot. I'm gonna figure out how Anne is gonna be like, yeah, no, my cousin's the jerk. I'm still not gonna marry him. Cause she already stated that to Miss Smith. Like, she's like, no, I'm not marrying this man. I don't. She's still in love with Wentworth, Captain Wentworth. Yeah, she's still very much in love with him. We're now getting to the point where Anne is like, yeah, I still like this guy. I want to talk to him. She's like yearning for him. She's like looking for him in places, hoping he would just look at her. Yeah, she's still in love. Yo, the more I'm reading this, the more I realize Charles is funny. So I mistook Charles and Binwick as the same person, but Charles is Mary's husband, and he is the goat in this book. I love him so much. He's so silly. So I'm at the part where apparently he's like trying to impress his mother, and he got the family a seat in the play, and Mary's upset because Mary's a socialite. She wants to just be like in everybody's business. So they had an arrangement already to meet with some people at the same night of the play. And Charles is like, I don't want to go to no party. I'm gonna go to the play. And he wrote, what's an evening party? Never worth remembering. Your father might have asked us to dinner, I think, if he had wanted to see us. You may do as you like, but I shall go to the play. He's like, Mary, I don't give a shit what you want. I'm going to go to the play anyway, because he booked it. And then Mary's like, oh, Charles, I declare it will be too abominable if you do, when you promise to go. And he's like, no, I did not promise. I only smirked and bowed and said the word happy. There was no promise. He's so silly. He's so silly, but I get it, because if I had to marry Mary, bro, I would die. Because Mary, I think she's the most annoying sister of them all between Elizabeth, Anne, and her. But I don't like Elizabeth either, and I think Elizabeth is the oldest and Mary's the youngest and Anne is the middle. But Charles originally wanted to marry Anne, but that didn't work out. If you guys can tell, Anne is like the it sister. Like, everyone wants her. But I am on page 208 out of 235. Tyler gets off in like 40-ish minutes. I don't know if I can finish it by then, but I'm trying. I'm really trying. I just finished reading the letter that, what's your name? Frederick Wentworth left Anne. Hopefully the music in the background is not copyright, but it's classical music, so I hope not. It's for the moods, the vibes. I just finished reading his fucking letter he left for Anne, and it's so fucking cute. It says, I can listen no longer in silence. I must speak to you by such means as are within my reach. You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope. Tell me not that I am too late, that such precious feelings are gone forever. I offer myself to you again with a heart even more your own than when you almost broke it 8 years and a half ago. Dare not say that man forgets sooner than women, that his love has an earlier death. I have loved none but you. Unjust I may have been, weak and resentful have been, but never inconstant. I can't read English. You alone have brought me to Bath. For you alone I think and plan. Have you not seen this? Can you fail to have understood my wishes? I had not waited even these 10 days could I have read your feelings, as I think you must have penetrated mine. I can hardly write. I am every instant hearing something which overpowers me. You sink your voice, but I can distinguish the tones of that voice, when they would be lost on others. Too good, too excellent creature. You do us justice indeed. You do believe that there is true attachment and constancy among men. Believe it to be most fervent, most undeviating, and I don't know if you understood any of that fucking classical shit, but my man still loves her. That is all that matters. He still loves her, and he left her a note. A letter. I remember this part in the movie. But in the movie, this was nearing the ending. We are still only on page 221 out of 235. I did it. I finished a book. Tyler will be home in 15 minutes. I have to hurry up and get dressed so we can do some errands. But I finished. We have finished our first classical book. It was hard. It was tough to get through. The music's being very dramatic right now for my mood. This one has 356 pages. So, do I want to dabble in this? Volume 1, okay. I don't know what order this is. I should have read it in the order the books were published. Clearly this is going to say 2023 because of this edition. But I should have probably read it in the order of, like, when Jane Austen wrote it. Because maybe her writing got different. But who knows? Oh, shoot. I didn't even know there was a cut in my book. Oh, that sucks. Marianne Dashwood always leads with her heart, while her sister Eleanor is much more cautious, especially when it comes to love. Each is certain that hers is the right way, until their suitors unleash secrets that force the two women to doubt everything they thought they knew, including their chances for happiness. Did I watch this movie? I just finished reading for 2 hours of Sense and Sensibility shit. Oh my god. This is... Okay, this I think is way more interesting than Persuasion. Because with Persuasion, I think it took me forever to know what the fuck is going on. This book, I'm still like, what the fuck is going on, but I'm understanding a little bit better. So we're following two sisters, Eleanor and Marianne. I don't know if I like Marianne, and I don't know if I like Eleanor. But between the two, if I had to pick, I think I would pick Eleanor. Marianne is just, she has all these, what do you call it? Expectations from men. Like, they have to like everything she likes, and if they don't, then she's not interested. Or like, they have to have like this crazy reaction to things that she does, like when she's singing, when she's playing piano. If they're not giving her that like excitement, she's not interested. And I'm not really into that. It's like, bro, come on. I don't know how old they are either. I just know that the two men that Marianne is in between, Mr. Willoughby, which is 25, and then Colonel Brandon, which is 35. So there's a 10-year age gap between the two guys. I don't know how old she is. I think she's 17. I think. I'm not quite sure. They mentioned somebody was 27, but I think that was another character that's like a background character. But yeah, these two sisters live with their mom. They have a stepbrother that gives them money, like allowance of £500 a year. I don't like his wife. His wife is Miss Dashwood. And then he's Mr. Dashwood. They're all Dashwoods though, because they're related, you know. Well, not the wife to the husband. The brother's wife is not related to them, I don't think. But I don't know. It's the fucking 1800s. Things can be different. I don't know. Things were weird back then. But the book's pretty good so far. So I stopped at chapter... whatever that number is. I don't know. I'm on page 54. I started off at what page? Because I'm about to update my Goodreads. I read for 2 hours. I'm a slow reader. I wish I was fast. So, page 9. Page 9 is what I started off with. I ended off at page... What page did I say? 54? So, how many... Let me set you on my knee and hope you don't fall. 54 minus 9. So I only read 45 pages in 2 hours. I don't think that's a lot. I don't know. It's quick for me. So I went from 2% to 13% on my my Goodreads. I don't think that's awful. I mean, I could be slower, but I could be quicker as well. I don't know. Some books I can read pretty fast. This I can't read fast. I think it's just a language. Well, I look like shit because I'm sick. Let me pause this music video. I have made it to volume 2 of Sense and Sensibility. This is up to 130. I think I started today at page 54, so I almost read about 100 pages, but I am tapped out for the day. All I did today was I called out of work and just laid in bed, took some medicine, and read. And it's nearly 4 now. I think I started around like 11 when I started reading, or like almost 11. I think I'm gonna give this book, I know it's like too soon to tell because where are we? We're like 36% in. It's like a 2 or a 3. I am not following the book. I'm just reading it. I'm seeing words. I'm not comprehending the story. I don't know. But I did watch the movie. And I think I'm going to prefer the movie over the book itself. But it seems like volume 1 we're mostly following... It felt like we were following Marianne. But then, like, it was then turning to Eleanor. And Eleanor has a thing for her cousin. I think her cousin is Mr. Edward. And Mr. Edward has been engaged with this girl named Lucy, which we just now found out near the fucking end of volume 1. That they've been engaged for like 4 years. And Eleanor really likes Mr. Edward, which is her cousin, I think. Don't hold me to that. Marianne is upset because Mr. Willoughby, or whatever the fuck his name is, he went away. Colonel Brandon also went away. But I know Marianne ends up with Colonel Brandon. Eleanor, I believe she ends up with Edward anyway. I could be wrong. I can't remember the movie too well compared to Persuasion, but I am so ready to give up on classics, but I'm too stubborn to DNF. So here we are. Hi guys, it is 6:06 p.m. on November 25th. I don't know if you guys can see that. I have officially finished. I'm still sick. I have officially finished Sense and Sensibility. I was a dumbass and forgot that because I have Spotify Premium thanks to Tyler, I can actually listen to audiobooks, and I think you can listen to like 15 hours every month. And I was already like, I think it was in chapter 30, so I was already pretty heavily into the book. And I was telling Tyler, I was like, I physically cannot read another classical book. And he's like, why don't you just listen to it? And I was like, oh my god, you're so fucking smart. So, classic books, I'm just gonna listen to it via audio. So the next one, I think I have like a couple hours left that I can use on my Spotify to listen to Little Women. So it's gonna be the span of like 3 months. So, Sense and Sensibility, I'm gonna give it a 2.5. If I could. Well, on Goodreads, it's gonna be a 2, but my rating rise 2.5. I did not care for the story compared to Persuasion. I prefer Persuasion more, because that book I actually physically read all the way through, and I wasn't, even though I was struggling. This one, I just could not take it. I could not take it anymore. I was getting tired of every single fucking character. The only character I cared for was Colonel... I don't like that word. Every time I see it, I want to say Colonel, but that's wrong. Colonel Brandon. He was the only character I cared for. I realized the age of Marianne in the beginning was 17. I kind of forgot how old Eleanor was. I am too lazy to figure it out. Editing me can put it in. More work for her. She's gonna hate me. But in the end, Marianne ended up being 19, and I believe it was Colonel Brandon was like really old. So I think she was 17, he was 36. So 19 and 38. That's a huge age gap. Like, I think that's more than double. My math might be wrong. 9 times 2 is 18, right? Either way, he's old, but he's so sweet. And things were like that back then. Preferably, I would wish he had a girly near his age. But anyway, he's the only best character. I do not give a shit about the two girls, Marianne or Eleanor. I didn't give a shit about Edward. I didn't give a shit about anybody. The only character I cared for was Colonel Brandon. Would I recommend this book? I would not. I feel bad because so many people love Jane Austen, but as I'm reading her books, the two that I've read so far aren't my thing. I think maybe I just prefer the movies, but who knows. The next book we're reading is reading and partially listening to is Little Women, and then we're gonna end it off with Emma. Putting You Away. I don't know if I want to keep these books out. They're pretty, but like they're not my favorite, so they might get banished into a drawer. But here we are. Little Women, you're next. And it's not by Jane Austen. It's by Louisa May Alcott. Hopefully I said her name correct. I mean, she is a noun. She's a person. But hopefully I said her name correctly. Hopefully this is a little bit better. I'm going to be reading and listening to the audiobook. So, hello. It's been some time since I updated you guys on Little Women. I've been purely listening to it and not physically reading it. And we are this much left. I believe it's like I'm 67% in or 77% in. I think it's 77% because I am nearing, what page am I on? 390. So that's a lot out of 532. Jesus. But I have been listening to the audiobook of Little Women, and oh my god, the amount of times where I'm like, what? And like gasping and everything. I know for sure this is going to be a 4-star because I am enjoying it so much. It's not a 5-star because, some points it's like, why am I being told this? It sounds like filler. But this story is so fucking good. Laurie, oh my god. Oh my god, Laurie. Laurie is that guy. He's literally that guy. He's such a true gentleman. He knows when to be funny and snarky, sassy and all that. He's just that guy, and I can see why it's half of the sisters love him. So Meg's already married. Meg's the oldest. I believe her name's also Margaret, but Meg is her nickname. She's the oldest. She's already married off to it was Laurie's tutor, Mr. Damn, I forget his name. I don't know, but Meg's already married off. Beth, I don't know if Beth is the youngest or she's the second youngest, but she is sick. She's gonna die, FYI. I already know because I watched the movie. She's gonna be dying soon, but she currently likes Laurie from the chapter I'm reading, which, I mean, shit, I would love Laurie too. Jo is the second oldest. She knows that Laurie likes her. It's weird. It's on and off between them where, like, Laurie confesses and then nothing happens. Every time he confesses, nothing happens because Jo's like, no, we're just friends. So now Jo is now in New York helping her mother's friend with, like, the children and everything, sewing and knitting and whatever the heck. She's in New York to get away from Laurie, to create some distance. So because it's awkward. Your friend keeps confessing to you and you're like, no, I just want to be friends. And then Amy is currently, she's just all over the place. She's with their aunt Margaret. Right? I don't remember their names. I only remember clearly the 4 sisters' names, and then like the core family, like Mr. March and Mrs. March, because that's the parents. I don't names do not stick with me. But yeah, so they're all off on their own adventure. This book is pretty nice. I would definitely recommend this one for sure for people. I don't know if Jane Austen's my favorite classical writer, like author, because after listening to this book, after listening and reading Jane Austen's previous 2 books, I don't know if I'm a big fan of Jane Austen's writing. I'm probably gonna get some flack for this, but I don't know, because this author here, Louisa May Alcott, her writing is so entertaining. And the last classical book we have is Emma, and that is going back to Jane Austen. So if I do not like Emma either, I don't think I'm a Jane Austen girly, and I just like the vibes and I don't really like the books. Which I really feel like it's gonna happen and makes me so sad. But maybe Pride and Prejudice will be, you know, the one silver lining that I'll like of Jane Austen. This lighting is very pink, but I have to tell you guys the update of Little Women. I just finished chapter 35, 6, and 7. I'm chapter 38 now, but I'm gonna leave chapter 38 for tomorrow. But those 3 chapters, I felt like I was being whiplashed. Chapter 36 was Heartache or something titled like that, and it's basically when Laurie confesses to Jo actually, and Jo's like, yeah, she just she broke his heart practically. And I was like Pikachu speechless face the whole time when I was listening to it while I was washing dishes. I was like, what the fuck? Because Laurie's like, I'd rather hang myself if she doesn't love him back and everything. I was like, oh, whoa, this is pretty dramatic. This is very dramatic. But that chapter was crazy. The next chapter, we learn that Beth is dying because Jo, who has been away for some time, came back and saw that Beth wasn't doing well. Like, she looked like thin and sickly and everything, basically dying. She's nearing her death. So that was the next chapter. And then this latest chapter, Laurie has been traveling and he met up with Amy, and Amy suddenly like finds him very handsome and she wants to impress him, and that was a lot. There was a lot going on. We had a rejection, a death announcement, and now we're moving along to the next couple, which I already knew Laurie and Amy were going to get together because, again, I watched the movie. But I did not know all this happened within 3 chapters. All these main events happened in 3 chapters consecutively. It's not even spaced out. So I can only imagine the readers back then. I can only imagine what the fuck they thought. They're probably like, what is going on? And we still have so many more chapters to go. There's 47 chapters. I just got to 38. So I think I only have about, let me see, I only have 4 hours and 8 minutes left of the book itself. So I probably could finish it this weekend. But I am really, really loving Little Women. It's definitely a 4-star. Laurie, oh my god, I feel like Laurie's not hyped up enough. Or I'm just not in that scene, at least on like TikTok, because my TikTok is full of like Mr. Darcy and everything. But I feel like Laurie needs more attention. He's just everything. He's everything. I don't understand. I mean, I understand why Jo can't love him because, you know, platonically they're best friends forever, and to suddenly hear your best friend say, hey, I love you, is kind of like, well, I didn't see you like that. But he's so romantic. I don't know. I would fall for Laurie. Just saying, I would fall for him. It's 6:35, December 5th. I have finished reading Little Women last night on December 4th, but I was so busy with everything else that I couldn't properly record. This is definitely a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Every sister had their own ending, which is perfect. I mean, Beth did pass away, but she passed away in the way she wanted, peacefully. Amy got with Laurie. Reading Laurie's point of view when he was trying to get over Jo was heartbreaking because he was feeling guilty moving on so quickly or easily, and then moving on to like his other, like the other sister. So I can kind of get it. He's like, oh, that's kind of awkward. But happy endings. They all had families, so 4 out of 5. I don't want to spoil too much of the book because I do recommend this one. But now that we have finished Little Women, that means I only have Emma left. So we are going to put away Little Women. I don't know if I'm going to keep these on my shelf. They're very pretty, but I don't know. I don't think they're bookshelf worthy on my bookshelf. But they're going to stay here for now. I know they're classics. I know they're pretty. But I only have so many bookshelves, and I want to put the best of my favorites on the bookshelf. Little Women might have the spot, but these two probably not so much. I gotta also probably put these on a different shelf. Might be like somewhere up here because they're kind of small. I'll figure it out. Once I get through all my books, I'll figure out what I want actually out here. But we are now gonna finish with the last classic that we have, Emma. And this is the one with the most pages, I believe. No, it's not. I lied. Wait, why didn't I start with Emma? Wait, is this about the author? Based on the book, okay. These are just volumes. Is this the last? Okay, 460. Oh, I should have started with Emma. Well, I guess because of this format, this ended up being 460 pages, and in reality, it's probably much more. Well, anyway, ending the classics reading with Emma by Jane Austen. I'm going back to Jane Austen. For sure, if I fall asleep on this, then I know Jane Austen is not my author, and I feel so upset about that. Good morning. It is 7:02, December 6th. I have got into 110. So I listened to like 3 chapters this morning. I read 3 chapters at work yesterday. I listened to a little bit during the ride home. I'm trying to maximize my reading time. And thankfully I found Emma online on a website for free. So I was reading that at work since I can't physically read a book at work. So I'm just reading it on my computer screen. I think, I don't know. I don't know if Emma's for me. Because it feels like, I don't know. I realized I didn't even read the blurb before I freaking started reading the book. And so far, all I know is Harriet is Emma's best friend. Harriet needs a lot of, like, guidance from Emma. And Emma seems like the girliest of girls, where she's, like, your girl's girl. So already in chapter 4, Harriet was already proposed by a man named Mr. Martin. I forgot his first name, but yeah, she was already proposed chapter 4, and then Harriet's like, oh my god, Emma, what should I do? And Emma's like, I'm not going to influence you on your choices. Emma seems like, she's just there. She's just there observing, listening, and then, like, giving advice. Like, she's a matchmaker, so I don't know if that's what she is, but everyone really loves her. She's very beautiful. They mentioned that multiple times. She's very talented. She's like that girl. So I'm going to read the blurb. Handsome, clever, and rich Emma Woodhouse has little use for marriage, but when she tries to play matchmaker, okay, she is being matchmaker, for her protege, Harriet Smith. Okay, now it all makes sense, now that I'm reading the blurb. Her meddling draws her into a mess of romantic misunderstandings. Drawing from the Victorian language of flowers... Oh, sorry, that's just the cover art, but I'm going to read that anyway in case you're curious. Each signature gilded classics cover features florals directly inspired by the themes of the text. So, this is Emma's theme. But yeah. Okay, now it all makes sense. I'm like, is Emma just a matchmaker here? What's going on? It's not terrible, but it's just a lot of, gossip. I feel like I'm just reading a book about gossip. Good morning. It is 9:32, December 11th. I am officially done with Emma. This book is not for me. I'm rating it a 1, which I am shocked of. Because Emma's whole aesthetic and everything that I've seen before I even read the book was very me. It was very pink core, very girly and everything. But then when I started reading and listening to the audiobook, I was like, no, I cannot. It just felt like I was reading a book of gossip of people I don't care about. That's all it felt like to me. The whole plot is basically Emma just trying to help her friend Harriet get married, and then there were like multiple candidates, but they didn't work for multiple different reasons because they didn't fit Emma's criteria for her best friend. But I understand, like, you want the best for your best friend, but like that was the main core of this whole book. And then, at the end, there is a happy ending, but I'm not going to dive too much into Emma in case you want to read it. But it's a 1 star. And I believe now that I finished all my classicals, I believe I have rated 1, 2, 3, 4 stars. So they're not even in order, but Little Women being number 4, Persuasion being number 3, Sense and Sensibility being number 2, and then Emma being number 1. And the one I had high hopes for was actually Emma, and it ended up being the lowest ranked one. Little Women, I had it as a contender, and it ended up being the top. Now, am I gonna read more classical books? I don't think so. I don't think it's a writing that's for me. I'm just gonna stick to what I like, and at least I gave it a shot, because I am too stubborn to DNF any book. I'd rather be an educated hater, and I'm fucking stubborn and like to waste my own time. But anyway, classical books are done. I think the only classical book I will probably want to read is, and give it a shot, giving Jane Austen one more try, is Pride and Prejudice. But until I find a cover I like, I'm not going to read it. Because again, I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I do. And I like to showcase them on my bookshelf. So, yeah, until we can find a copy of Pride and Prejudice that I like, I'm not going to get back into classicals. And I'm not even going to be mad about it, because I have a shit ton of books that I have to read. I've been adding more books to my Goodreads, if you guys have been following me on that. And I know I said I was on a book ban, but again, the sales were happening. Pre-orders are slowly coming in. And I'm just starting to put my pre-orders back on my Goodreads, because at first I was only adding books that I physically had in my hand onto my Goodreads. But I fear that one day I'll be like, oh, I want that book, and I already pre-ordered it and forget about it. So I'm going to start just adding all the books I pre-order onto my list as well. So that way I know for sure, okay, this is a list I have to read. I did make some TBR jars. So the next book we're going to read, we're just going to pick it out of the jar, because I'm overwhelmed with my selection. I'm praying that the book we're going to be reading next is a single standalone and not a series, because I have multiple series on my bookshelf, and if I have to go through if it's a series, we're skipping it. There's no way. If we get ACOTAR, there's no way. No, I'm not ready. I'm not mentally ready for a series. I just need a single standalone book, which I think I have a couple. I feel like maybe half and half. I have half series and half standalone books. But if it's a series that's only 2 books, that's fine. But if it's ACOTAR, there's no shot. We're skipping. We're rolling again. But thank you guys for watching and following me along with my stress of reading classicals. If classicals is for you, more power to you. I wish I could be like you, but I cannot get into the writing and the language, and I cannot. I just think it's maybe Jane Austen, which I'm sad to say that I was really hoping I enjoyed her writing, because she is one of the top classical authors. But none of her books has been rated highly for me. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful, and we shall see what book I pull for the next video.